Welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. Today we've got a treat. I'm joined by Jeff Allen and Katie McRae, and they're here to talk to us about 3P channel management. You know, some of these topics where you got map problems, you got distribution challenges, and we'll pepper in some of those other hot topics like restock limits and everything else that's going on in the Amazon community. So Jeff and Katie, thanks for coming on.
You betcha.
Thanks for having us.
So Jeff is a super fan of our channel. We see him comment on every live ever. So that's why we've got him on, and he's a super knowledgeable guy. And he's also brought along with him today Katie. So Katie, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
I've actually been working with Amazon top seller multi-million-dollar brands for a little over 3 years. And we noticed a little bit of a niche market. We started to get really good at it in the agency I used to work for. So I kind of branched off, started my own business with my brother, and we still help huge brands grow to be a little bit bigger and have that cutting edge.
Perfect. And Jeff, your turn.
I started my agency in 2015, kind of like because I felt like it. People were asking me to do stuff for them for free, and I said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to start charging you. So I've been working on the Amazon platform since 2010. And then
OG Jeff, yes.
I found your podcast, and you and I have been connected, and I've been asking thousands of questions ever since.
And it's not me against you, Jeff. It's all of us against Amazon.
All of us against Amazon. Yes.
If there's one catch line that I get famous for, I hope it's that one. So it's great. It's great to have you guys on. So let's kick things off. So Jeff, you've been seeing a lot of challenges going on. What is on your mind today?
The biggest thing that's on my mind that I keep preaching to brands, that they get the concept, but they don't really do anything about it. So I kind of have to take over and do it for them, which is they're losing the buy box. Why am I losing the buy box? Well, your price is wrong. You haven't checked Walmart. You haven't checked Best Buy. So you're not just competing against other Amazon sellers. You're competing against your entire channel. And by your entire channel, what I mean is, who are you selling to? You're selling to a distributor. Are you selling to Best Buy Direct? Are you selling to Walmart Direct? If you're selling to a distributor, who are those? Who's that distributor selling to? Are they selling to a bunch of other people that are now going to list on Amazon? What those people are going to do is they're typically not going to create their own listing. They're going to find a listing and they're going to jump on it. So you're losing the buy box because you are not controlling your channel. And so when you go over and you see other sellers on Amazon and there are 30 of them, that's a huge mistake, huge penalties for allowing that to happen.
What are some of the challenges that come up? Like, talk to me about these penalties.
The penalties are, first of all, the biggest one that I have the hardest time explaining to people is they come to me and they say, what's going on? I can't change my title. What's going on? I can't change my bullet points. How come Amazon won't update my my thumbnails? Well, it's because you have lost content contribution rights to one of your 3Ps that is selling more product than you. So therefore, you no longer have control. That's huge. So when you come to me and say, how come my title won't change? I can almost guarantee you I know why your title won't change. Now, you did a flat file video that was awesome with Vanessa yesterday. Yes, you can go take a flat file and
we'll link to that video here. Keep going.
You can go to your flat file. You can try a flat file update of the title. It may work, it may not work, but now you got to open up a seller ticket. You've got to say, we are the brand owner. We have content contribution rights. Now you're in seller support's hands. We know how that goes.
I feel like I'm praying to Jeff Bezos. Please let me control my title.
So and then the other thing too is the loss of your search juice, which I know people sometimes hate that term. You're losing so much by not controlling your channel. You're losing your attributions, search juice, rankings. There's just so many negatives to not controlling your channel in your 3P sellers.
So Katie's nodding her head because she agrees with what Jeff's saying. We'll get to that in a second. Real quick, though, question for both of you. What's better, seller support tickets or brand registry tickets? Quick answer.
Seller support. I'm sorry, brand registry.
Well,
I almost said seller support.
Each one of them is going to point their finger and tell you to go the other way, though, is what always happens. The first things first is they're like, it's not me, it's you, it's not you, it's me, whatever, comes first. But really what it takes is you've got to get on the phone with somebody and you've got to be a little mean and you've got to call back 10, 20 times, however many times it takes, because usually it's not the email ticket that works. It's when you're on the phone with somebody, they've got to change the notes because you get on the phone, they finally understand the issue, then they recap email and it has nothing to do with what you just spent the last hour talking about. It's the worst. You have to keep following up though. You just got to do it.
So Katie's the extrovert. I'm the introvert. I never want to talk on the phone. I just want to file my tickets. So she's dialing in. I'm filing tickets by email. We both eventually get to where we need to go, but no matter which option, it's frustrating.
And when you're not doing what Katie's doing, which is requesting repeated phone calls, then it goes back to what Stephen, you and I have talked about, which is how do you escalate? What is the problem?
Amazon is a culture of escalation.
If you don't know how to escalate and who to escalate to, it goes to the minimum wage worker and you'll never get past that.
I've talked to many Amazon. Yeah, I've talked to many Amazon insiders from the catalog team, and they tell me the lower tier employees are forced to use copy and paste and cannot deviate from the script. And of course, what happens? The left hand at Amazon over here is like, hey, everybody got to use GS1 UPC codes.
Right.
And then the right hand over here on the actual ground level is given zero permission to assist the new compliance. They're not even told that you're required to have GS1 UPC codes. They're just simply told, nope, can't change UPC codes. So left hand's like, must have GS1 barcodes. Right hand's like, cannot change barcodes. And then they just fight. Let them fight Godzilla style. That's what's happening right now. So
it's like when mommy and daddy are fighting, what do? Just go to your room?
I don't even know where to take that metaphor.
You got to yell at somebody. That's all I know.
Yes. I don't know if I'd rather yell at mom or dad in this metaphor. So, all right. So, Katie, you've experienced some things too. What's on your mind?
Right now, it's all about ranking. We've got some really big clients in some very competitive spaces going up against Q4. CPCs are skyrocketing. Ranking is all over the place.
We had Amazon come out with their earnings call on Thursday afternoon. They said PPC revenue is up 25% year over year, Q3 to Q3.
Everyone's spending, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're making a profit, but they're definitely spending a lot more and they're showing up a little bit of everywhere. And we've got new options when it comes to placements and sponsored displays, expanding their reach a little bit too. I even saw today, you might be able to start running sponsored display ads even if you're not selling on Amazon. So we'll have even more competition coming soon.
Why the frick would they do that? I used to, like take Verizon Wireless, for example. They started allowing third-party ads on their website and they generated millions of dollars, I'm sure. But what the frick? I don't run ads on my YouTube channel. Why? Because I don't want the people that are prospectively going to hire me to see ads from some ninja YouTube star, right? Like the same thing is going to happen. People are going to see ads on Amazon for a Shopify site or for a Magento site that's off of Amazon. I think that's going to be a bad experience for everybody involved. I get it. Like buy with Prime, you can now have a Prime purchase off site. But in a world where I don't even have restock limits with Amazon, I don't want to lose some of my sales to an off Amazon brand on Amazon right now.
No, I totally agree. It's just going to make competition higher. It's going to be even more clickbaity, which is what we like about Amazon for the most part, is that it's really simple. There's not a ton of in-your-face ads, but it's going to get a little more full.
The other point about what you just said, Katie, and what you just said, Stephen, is you go to a SERP page, a search engine results page. You go to a bestseller page. You've got 15 listings. If Amazon is taking 25 of those listings for ad placements, how do you get organic placements anymore? It's if you're Now all of a sudden you are forced to advertise. You can SEO your detail page. You could do all these things, but Amazon is saying, well, that's great. You SEO, you improved your images, you made your title really good. We don't care. You got to advertise.
All right, let's talk buy box for a minute. Give me your top 1 to 3 buy box hacks. Let's start with Katie.
The one piece, Jeff, that I think you mentioned a lot of people don't know is if you are selling off of Amazon, it's extremely important to make sure you've got everything in sync, not only just because of, the buy box issue, but you'll get in big trouble with Walmart, especially depending on your contracts. So making sure you've got prices competitively, that's one of the biggest things. Shipping times, you've got to have Prime, low price, just really a lot of the basic stuff, seller performance, shipping performance. You've got to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
All right, Jeff, what are your top buy box hacks?
Now I got to go off the My Amazon Guy platform. I use Helium-10 to do buy box tracking. So every morning I will get up and I will look at my Helium-10. I will see who owns the buy box. I get alerts if a buy box is not ours. I found one this morning, like 5 a.m. And then I contacted through Slack my brand and said, hey, what's going on here? Amazon says it's 129, you are 149. Within 5 minutes, they said, oh, it's Best Buy. And I said, contact Best Buy, have them change the price right now, or else I'm taking you down to 129 to get the buy box back. Within a half an hour, they had contacted Best Buy. Best Buy took the price down to 129. We win the buy box back.
Quick on the Helium-10 alerts.
Go for a day. Don't let it go for a half a day.
Here's some examples of alerts you can get. So when a review comes in, when an image changes, this one was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
They combined my 30-ounce image over my 12-ounce product, and I ended up fighting with them and escalating quite a bit. And long story short, I broke the parentage because they kept telling me the parentage was the problem. Right. And I freaking know it wasn't, because after I broke it, the problem persisted. And I'm just afraid to recombine it. Like, I don't know when I'm going to, if I might, but like, I was pretty mad about it. I was dropping, you're lying to me, Amazon. Emails. So that happened. So these are things that you can do. So definitely, I really like the alerts. When title changes, when alerts come in, a lot of different things that can happen here. So
I would like to say that fear of variations is a very, very real thing.
My parentages get taken down all the time, and they're like, you have violated variation policy. And I'm like, please feel free to cite what specific line in the policy I'm violating, because I know I'm not violating. What happened is some stupid competitor out there reported my listing, and you dingbat minimum wage person, probably in India, accepted their report. That's what happened. I rebuild the parentage, nothing further comes of it. 1 year later, it breaks again. So we know it's.
Have you ever successfully reported another listing for something like that? Because we've got some competitors that we've been trying to kind of report, and nothing's been taken from Amazon.
I accidentally clicked the back button on my Razer mouse here. So.
I have been able to report. I hate doing it because it feels so black hat. But if I'm being attacked by variations, I have no defense except for to re-attack, go back in, report their variation violation. And then it becomes this stupid battle that I'm wasting so much time on.
We've got a really bad one. Our competitor has listed their product deliberately in the wrong category so that it sells really high comparatively in the category, and they're getting all the bestseller badges, but it's not even close to the product that they sell. And we keep reporting it and nothing has happened. We've even emailed Jeff.
Yeah, this is one that I haven't seen a lot of positive movement on, unfortunately. And I think it's just a sign of a bad catalog policy and management. And Amazon has turned this one over to the robots. So if the consumer is still making the purchase, the robots say everything's fine. Mm-hmm. But in reality, it's actually a worse customer experience because this apple is not an orange.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the idea is I'm going to list in a slightly different category. If I do and I sell anything, I'm going to get Amazon's choice and I'm going to get bestsellers badge. but that is totally black hat as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's against the policies.
All right, so let's move from the buy box and let's go to loss of featured offer, which is a little bit different in the sense. So basically, you may not have a second person taking the buy box. Everybody is out of the buy box. Talk to me about this. What's typically happening?
Katie, you just mentioned that, whether it's Walmart, Target, wherever, what's your experience?
We actually have had a huge issue with this in the EU and in the UK, and their support is even a little messier than the support.
Hard to believe, right?
Yeah, and then I mean, you already know that I'm someone who calls and calls and calls, and then the hours are restricted, so it's even more difficult to get somebody on the phone. By the way, I do have a quick hack I'll mention. Call on the weekends, and you are more likely to get a U.S. or native English-speaking member to respond, and they have a little bit more power sometimes. Another hack: don't select the box that says this is like an SOS urgent matter, because you'll get directed to people who only have certain functions that they can select and certain buttons that they can press. Also, if you go through to file the case and specify that it's an FBA case, you'll more than likely get a specialist rather than I have an issue with my listing. So that's another couple of good hacks.
Those are fantastic, by the way.
They work. I'm going to tell you. I've got some others I'm sure we can get into. Ultimately, what we had to do is call the other distributors. It was a Walmart issue that was causing everyone to lose the featured offer. We had to lower the price significantly because one of the worst things we're experiencing now across so many listings, US, EU, whatever, is the Amazon warehouse reselling the used units. And that kicks us out of the buy box. It also wins over the buy box. And it's Amazon at that point. Who are you going to go complain to? Mommy and daddy are the problem. Okay, well, who are you going to complain to about them? So it's a tough call there, but you have to keep filing cases is what we had to do and drop the price.
So when that happens, when it goes to warehouse deals, have you marked your products that are being pulled from the bin for either destruction or return? Because I have personally found that Amazon will pull products, whether they're open box, and they'll just send them somewhere. They'll send them to an Amazon warehouse and resell them in India.
There's a couple of settings that you may or may not have to select that gives Amazon direct access to be able to use them for reselling purposes. We've got them unselected. We do have automatic removal orders. So I wonder though, if that could be part of it too. It's a good point.
So in here, I'm in my shipping templates section. So anybody that wants to follow along, go to your Seller Central, click on the gear icon. You can go to your FBA Fulfillment by Amazon settings. And in here, there's a bunch of features that a lot of people don't know about, and that's what Katie is talking about right now. So who does the prep work? What's the default? People may know about those labeling things, but some of these settings, as we get farther down, like the unfulfillable settings, whether there's value recovery or return and dispose, and this is what happens. This is what Jeff and Katie are talking about, and if you don't come in here and decide like how it's going to be done, you can run into some challenges. Some of these are auto-enabled, like automatic fulfillable inventory settings where they remove long-term storage. Well, what happens if they remove it and it's 2 weeks before Black Friday, right? Like I know I'm going to sell this before end of year, but too late. 6 months have gone by and we're yanking that inventory out. So
definitely got to check those.
So things to be on the lookout for. There's a lot in here. There's even a new donations program. You got your MCF, multi-channel fulfillment settings, export settings, whether you can sell in other countries. What if you're not even legally allowed to sell in other countries? These are a lot of things that people may not think of when they're trying to set up their Amazon business. Yeah,
and just a quick note on that one. We have a product. I work for a brand. We sell something in the U.S. It's FDA approved. We tout it's FDA approved. There is no FDA in the UK. There is no FDA in India. There is no FDA in Germany. But Amazon decides we're just going to go ahead and sell it there. Now, we're on the hook, not Amazon, for if we get any kind of governmental interference about it says FDA on it.
I love paying government taxes. Please tax me more. Amazon is passive income.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Residual. Never lift a finger.
Katie, what's your favorite Amazon lie?
It's all of the spam I'm getting right now, trying to find other sellers who actually know what the heck is going on Amazon. The make passive income. I made $10,000 my first month selling on Amazon. And I'm like, that's great. It's probably not true, first of all, but that's great.
Yeah, there's come sell in Brazil. That's a hot marketplace right now.
we had one, we were going to sell homeschool supplies. All the textbooks were in English in Brazil because there was a huge market for it. It became like number one on the CEO's mind. And we're like, let's hold off. I don't know that English textbooks are going to be like the number one hot selling item in Brazil, but you never know. You really never know, I guess.
Everything's worth testing, but if the sophistication level outweighs the opportunity costs, I mean, it's just a lot of effort sometimes for nickels. All right.
So it's not worth testing, Stephen. Selling SD cards or flash drives that you bought on Alibaba.
That is a good one. So yes, we get approached by a lot of private labelers that think they have the greatest thing hacked figured out after watching a couple YouTube videos from some ninja, and they're like, I've got my source. I've got Alibaba. Well,
not so much.
It doesn't go as well as you think. And speaking from personal experience, I've paid my Amazon tax. I have ordered glasses out of China with bubbles in the glass. And if you crush it in your hand just a little too hard, it shatters. And so there's just a lot of challenges, not even to mention the logistics hurdles, the shipping questions, and the fact that shooting image photography on glasses with light refraction is ridiculously difficult. Set aside all of that. Just simply trying to find a manufacturer off Alibaba is a whole topic on its own. All right, so we won't go into that one. So you mentioned a little bit of frustration with rando distributors showing up and messing up the chain. Can we talk about unauthorized sellers showing specifically on Amazon? So let's first define it. So I would define there's two types of things. There's a hijacking event. Somebody takes your ASIN and changes the information. And then there's just a simple unauthorized seller. Maybe they're selling your item, maybe they're not. Maybe they're selling an apple and you sell an orange. But they show up on your listing and you don't know where they came from, and you may or may not distribute it to them, whatever. So that's the definitions as I stand by them. What do you guys think is the course of action?
What I do personally, and then I have another service that I've used for 8 years that helps me with unauthorized sellers.
You can mention them, Jeff. Go ahead.
Their name is Potu, marketing POTO, which is the Amazon bird. And they've been tremendous. They've removed thousands of listings for me. But the very first thing
listings or sellers or both?
Well, I'm sorry?
You said listings. So do you mean listings, sellers?
To get rid of unauthorized 3P sellers.
Got it. Okay, so sellers off your listings. Got it.
The very first thing I'll do is I'll look at the listing of who else is selling. I will go to each one of their stores and I will find their address. And so now I know who's selling it. If they're Chinese, we're in trouble. If they're US, now I can go back to the manufacturer with a list of those sellers and say, who's your distributor? Is your distributor selling to these people? If they are selling to these people, do you have a distribution agreement that specifically says, I will sell to authorized sellers only? If that person is not an authorized seller, they're not buying from your distributor, now it's time to take some action where you go in, and I think you're about to go there right now, and you're going to do a formal complaint through their store.
So this is one of my items. I had unauthorized sellers showing up, selling a commodity product. We ship ours out in an 𝘱𝘕 box. And if you're looking for a quick hack to prevent unauthorized sellers, my number one hack is make sure your brand name, your trademark name, is showing up in the main image to suggest it's got packaging to go with it. This is especially true with a commodity item like I have here up on screen. And that really deters people from showing up because it's as easy as coming over here and clicking this button, have one to sell, sell it on Amazon.
Right.
The marketplace. Amazon is inviting people to unauthorizedly sell on your listing. Even though you got brand registry control, they still make it a little bit too easy to show up and sell. All right. So Katie, what are your unauthorized reseller hacks? What do you got? How do we remove these guys? What do you do with it? Does it matter?
It definitely matters. We have had to take pretty extreme measures for some of our clients. We've got a few lawyers on hand that have to end up contacting and jumping through hoops to get them removed. Because even more so than just the distributor reselling, if you authorize to sell to one 3PL and they split it up and sell it amongst, other 3PLs, then you've got another problem too, because you've got several unauthorized resellers on your listing and there's not a lot you can do legally there, but you have to contact them, try to get them off. Sometimes we've even gone through, if it's crunch time, Q4 is coming up and we've purchased some of the items to just get them out of the buy box if there's not too many showing up. But we've had to work with a lot of different legal counsels to get this resolved for us.
All right, so that's unauthorized resellers. Now let's talk about hijacking, everybody's favorite topic. And so this happens more frequently to people who don't have a registered brand on Amazon. And a little bit of plug for my Amazon guy today. We have sold more than 1,300 trademarks. And if you don't have your brand trademarked right now, stop the video, full stop. There's nothing more important you could do right now than obtaining a trademark. And go get that at my Amazon guy. All right, so let's assume everybody has got their trademark. What is going on with hijacking?
So, Katie, you and I were just talking about tombstone listings. Mm-hmm. Tell a little bit about that. And
any show and tell is great, by the way, if you want to share screen.
Okay, and how you can get hijacked from a tombstone listing, essentially a listing that's been inactive for a long time. Somebody can come in and just take it away from you.
So I think a lot of people know about hijack listings, which is where someone else comes in and takes control over your listing. However, you can also lose contributions to your own brand if you're selling in multiple different territories, which is something that we've been experiencing. We've got sellers in the US and the UK, and I always say DE, but it's Germany. And so we've had some issues recently where we've tried to capitalize off of the work we've done in the UK. There's some listings with tons and tons of thousands of reviews, and we want to pull them over to the US. We filed the case, tried to have Amazon merge the ASINs. They deleted and tombstoned the ASIN that we wanted to preserve that had, I think, 100,000 reviews or something like that. And in Amazon's eyes, they'll tell you once they've tombstoned something, they've basically shut it off for good. It's dead to the world. You can never use it again. You've lost all your hard work. However, after
there's an actual phrase, and it's called a tombstone listing.
Tombstone. It's basically, if you've ever played Xbox and you get the red circle of death, it's the red circle of death from your Xbox. It's not coming back, is what they tell you. So you have to get on the phone. You have to tell them this was a mistake. Absolutely, there's a way to get this back. Amazon's not going to lose all of that data. It would hurt their own internal systems. They keep everything. If they tell you they've lost something, they haven't lost it. They just don't want to help you. And so you've got to get back and prove, this is what we were trying to do. Reactivate my listing. Don't tell me it's tombstone, because recently Jeff and I have just been talking about this. We found out it's not gone for good. So this tombstone thing, depending on who you talk to on the phone, is either a complete draw the line in the sand, or it's an opportunity for you to push back a little bit and reinstate your listing. So we've got some new obstacles to go through now, knowing about tombstone listings. It's just another layer in our dealings of hijackings.
So my question to you, Stephen, is if you have a dead listing, it's in
you can't ask me any questions. This is my pod. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
We're doing the interview.
You've got an ASIN. It's been sitting there for 2 years. You haven't touched it. Is there any possible way to delete it so a hijacker can't come in and find that and then list against it?
Not to my knowledge. Once it's loaded into the system, it's findable. Either somebody can load the UPC or the ASIN. Now, if you delete the data out of your account, it's possible that some of the data will be removed. Obviously, no A+ content, some other things you can delete for sure. You have control over that sort of thing. But once the data has been loaded one time to Amazon, it always exists. It may not exist on the front end, but it exists somewhere in a back end. And so sometimes I will leave old listings in my account and still have my seller contributions existing without deleting them, even though I never plan to sell on the listing again, simply because I don't want a hijacker to come in and grab them.
The one piece we should definitely talk about too is the fact that you can now hijack UPCs really easily. If GS1 has sold them on the black market or someone's resold their UPCs on eBay or wherever else, you might have purchase the UPC correctly from GS1 right from the beginning. You think you're doing everything right. You go to list your product on Amazon and it's already connected to a different ASIN. It's already connected to a product listing that has nothing to do with what you were about to sell. Now you're in that debacle you guys were talking about earlier between who's going to help me. Is it GS1? Is it Amazon seller support? Is it Brand Registry? How am I going to get control again over my...
Nobody's going to help you with UPC one issues. That's the bottom line.
I have personally won about 6 of these. I mean, we only had 6 of the issues, but it's between different sellers. It takes forever though.
To be clear, we've changed probably 20,000 UPC codes at my Amazon guide. But the point is that Amazon is not going to help you.
Oh, no.
So it's a big hurdle. It's very painful. But you had mentioned something that I found intriguing, and that was kind of in the early part where we first brought up UPC. So talk to me more about what you've seen. It was the hacking, actually. So I have personally witnessed, especially in supplement brands, that their UPCs have been used by the Chinese. I personally believe that GS1 was hacked by the Chinese, and they stole millions of UPCs. And that's why even if you bought new ones today, they can sometimes be tainted. GS1 will never help you with this. They won't fix your problem. And so I recommend just discontinuing those UPCs and buying a new prefix if that ever happens to you. So if you're listening to this and that's happened to you, just give up, fight another day with another thing. But talk to me a little bit about this hijacking. What have you seen with UPC hijacking issues?
I've seen the exact same thing, and especially with sellers who are new to business in general, they don't even understand when you're trying to explain to them, you've bought a new UPC, yes, but it's already being used by someone. I have no idea about the conspiracy that you mentioned. It's entirely possible because even in the past 2 years, the amount of people I've seen with brand new UPCs not be able to use them is countless. And so we've had to fight the fight because a lot of them don't want to get new UPCs or whatever it is. If you can afford to get new UPCs, I think it's definitely a better use of your time than fighting the uphill battle, which is telling Amazon a million different times that it is your product, trying to get the other one removed. I mean, it's a nightmare.
A lot of challenges.
What happens if you've bought a UPC, it has already been used by a Chinese seller, but you printed it on your box?
I would still get rid of it. I would use a new UPC.
It depends on your team too. Do you have a team to help you fight it or not? If you're listening to this and it's just you, I would not take on that beast alone for sure. If you have someone like any of us who can help you do it and you've already got all the manufacturing done, we have fought the good fight for it. You've got to take pictures of the GS1 certification that this is my, group of UPCs, just prove that this is the trademark. Everything goes to you, and then keep fighting the Autobots who respond the same thing that has nothing to do with what your case was filed for. And eventually you might get lucky.
That is such a sad state of affairs. Amazon seller support. The only thing I want for Christmas is functional Amazon seller support.
Oh,
I think I might be getting cold for Christmas though.
I dream about it. I wake up in the middle of the night going, what did Amazon screw up for me today?
I'll be honest. I share that dream, and I wake up and I'm like, oh, here's the new line. I'm going to go file a ticket. First thing I do, I get to my computer and go file a ticket. Now, that tells you how passionate the people you're watching today on our session from Katie and Jeff. We are extraordinarily passionate about helping Amazon sellers. We may not save babies, may not be in the business of helping people with heart attacks, but we definitely are in the business of helping improve small businesses and the owners' lives. So fantastic topics so far. We're going to cover one or two more here before we end our session today. So loss of brand credibility. Customer purchases from an unauthorized seller, is unhappy. They leave a negative review. They blame the brand. And of course, it wasn't your fault. What do I do?
Well, you cannot. Well, you've already said it a million times. Try to get that review removed. 1%, 2% chance, if that. The review guidelines are if it's about shipping, if it's about pricing, if it's about those things, you might have a small chance of getting a review removed. If it's about product, good luck. It's not going to happen. And then the other thing too is, let's say that you have a 3P that's on your listing. Somebody orders from them. What happens if that seller doesn't ship that product? They can ship anything they want. Now all of a sudden, the customer gets something that's not even related to what they thought they bought. Now you get a negative review. What do you do? It's too late.
How hard is it to remove a negative review? Product review.
Pretty much impossible.
I work with a couple of groups now, and I honestly haven't even tapped into their secret sauce to get reviews removed because I don't want to open that door for it to become my responsibility. They've gotten reviews removed, and if it's some kind of a replicable process, maybe I'll spill the details at some point. I've never seen it possible until I started working with these guys. So up until then, I didn't even think it was worth the time, energy, or effort. The other piece is too, if you have thousands of reviews on a listing, how many thousands of reviews are you going to have to remove in order to improve the start ranking in the first place? Right. So at that point, it's like, what are we doing?
So I think it's a great point that Katie makes. Is it worth fighting to remove the negative review? Now, obviously, if you're under 5 reviews or under 20 reviews, and you just launched your product and a hijacking competitor asshole left a negative review from your competitor or whatever it might be, absolutely, I would fight that all day long. But if you're at 1,000 reviews and you're at 4.5 stars, why even bother? It doesn't matter.
I mean, you'd have to change like 300 reviews or something crazy in order to push the needle at that point. That's a tough one.
Having said that, if you want to remove a negative review, I do have a guide. We will put that in the chat, and you just got to Google negative review removal, my Amazon guy, and you guys can check that out. And there are some tips and some templates you guys may find some benefit from. We think that it takes about 3% of the time you can get these removed. But here on screen, I'm showing you like, here's where to go to file the case. Here are the things you can just literally copy and paste these based on what applies. So if it's about the shipment, it's about the packaging, if it's a competitor, it's the wrong products, the wrong ingredients. It's about pricing. It's got hostility or profanity. These are all things that we have found a higher propensity to do a negative product review removal for. But if it's an accurate review and the customer just didn't understand how to use your products, my advice to you is just fix the product. And that might include put a product insert with instructions on how to use the product, care instructions, whatever it might be. A lot of people want to be able to send this by email. Not really possible these days. So put it in your product packaging and inserts if you can. All right. So last leg of our conversation today, just give me your best Amazon hack, any topic whatsoever. Free game here. What is your best Amazon hack, Katie?
A couple that I used earlier, I think are the most frequently that I use. And it's definitely because so much of Amazon at a certain level becomes troubleshooting and getting to someone that can actually help you. Because my first part of the hack is just to get on the phone with somebody, I would say that's a huge piece. Going through the FBA portion of the tickets that you can file is huge, because if you go just to fix the listing, you might not get someone on the phone. They'll try to pass you to catalog. They'll pass you places that don't have phone support. Those are huge. And then, I don't know, I think I just spend so much of my time there that I have to use those over and over. And honestly, it sounds really rude, but if I get someone on the phone who keeps asking me irrelevant questions, or I can tell it's not going to help,
do you just hang up?
I just hang up. I totally hang up and I call somebody back, because you know what? The amount of times I've done that and I've found someone who can help me, I then keep them on the phone for about an hour and I'm like, here are 30 more unrelated things. Can you help me? And they usually say yes. And it always works for me. So if you get someone like that on the phone and they're like, is there anything else I can do? Don't be shy. If the answer is yes, the answer is yes.
And here's the problem with seller support. Summarize. The guy that you hung up on gets to do what? Case resolved. I did my job.
Reopen your case. You've got to reopen and
no, but they got a plus. They got a 5-star review from you without you writing anything. And the guy that spent an hour on the phone with you, I can't believe you spent an hour on the phone with them. You're wasting time. So what this does is it incentivizes shitty customer service. Amazon's system is broken, and here is why. All right, Jeff, what is your best Amazon hack?
I'm just going to go right off of what Katie said and enhance that a bit. I've gotten to be really good at when I get somebody on the phone, I want to know their name. I talk to them like they're a human being. I will ask things about them. Hey, where are you located? Oh, what's the weather like there today? Do you have dogs? You see my dog walk in just a second ago. I get them talking, and they will go out of their way to help you if you treat them like a human being that you're having.
I don't know if I can treat people like humans, Jeff. You're asking too much of me. I'm sorry.
And then the other thing that's just on what Katie just said is you're on the phone for one issue, but you've got a list of open cases. I will always say, hey, if you've got an extra second, can you help me with this other case? And if you've done a good job of treating them like humans, sometimes they'll jump in. They'll go, oh yeah, look at this. And then they'll go, oh yeah, I can definitely help with that. You can resolve 2 or 3 cases on one call.
Well, I mean, if 2 people want to say that's their top hack, it might be important, guys. You guys might want to check that out. All right, I'm going to end with my favorite hack, and that is make sure your main image has as much stuff on it as humanly possible. I am dabbling on the corner of what's allowed on Amazon with this image, but showing what the product is made of has led to higher CTR, higher click-through rate, more clicks, more traffic, more impressions, higher ranks, and better sales. So spend 4 hours this weekend on your main image. You won't regret it.
I've also got to say to that point, you do a great job of taking up the whole space that's allotted for your image. A lot of times it'll show as a smaller image on there, and you can't really see just by looking at the listing what the product is. And that's huge. So from here, without even clicking into the images, you know exactly what you're looking at. That's extremely important too.
Well, thank you for the compliment there. That is our show today. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. Today we were joined by Jeff Allen and Katie McRae. If anybody listening to this wants to get in touch with you, Jeff, what's the best way to do so?
Email, which is jpa@jeffpallen.com.
And Katie?
You can email me as well, katie@htsocial.co. Katie is spelled on the screen.
Well, there you have it. They're giving their email addresses out because they are available to help you guys out if you're an Amazon seller. All right, that's our show today. Tune in every week. We got live Q&A formats every Thursday at noon. I'm doing a live Q&A format. Jeff was our first guest. Thanks for helping us out with that, Jeff. Coming in and doing live Q&A. That was lots of fun. And we're always here to serve. So that's a wrap.